Hi friends, and welcome back to Rustic and Lace DIY. Today I have another Christmas video. It's going to be one of my last. We're getting really close to that time of year. Oh, and it makes me sad. But anyways, if you are returning, welcome back. You know how much I love you guys. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Brenda and this is my Oliver. So with all that being said, let's get to crafting. Okay, here's DIY number 1. So for this DIY, I'm going to use this really cool stencil set that came from Essential Stencils. It's called Winter Barn Scene. It's got 3 stencils in it, and I just thought it was really cool. I'm also going to use my Waverly Antique Wax and my Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint in the color Antique Green, my Waverly chalk paints in the color White and Crimson. And then I'm going to use, I believe this is 11 by 14 canvas that I got from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start off by removing the staples with my staple remover. And then after that, I just laid that canvas out and I took the first stencil, and they are labeled layer 1, 2, and 3. And I am just taping it down to the canvas. I'm putting a little piece of blue painter's tape behind those little marks there that helps you line it up, and then I'm just kind of putting across there to mark where that, although I used a black pencil or pen and it was hard to see it. So anyways, I took my antique green paint and I'm just going to go around the whole stencil with my green. This is the trees that are in the scene. And then once it was dry, and after I cleaned my stencil, I took the second layer here and I'm just marking it, making sure it's all even. I'm going to tape it down as well. And then I'm going to use my crimson color and I'm going to go over all the areas on this stencil. And this is the second layer. And this, yeah, you'll see. But anyways, it does the barn in the cardinal. And then I'm going to remove it, go wash that all up. And once my image was dry, I took the third layer. And this is when things got a little out of sorts. We had an issue here with the mouse, you guys, and I am deathly afraid of mice. And so I was so out of it when I came and started doing this part. And I realized as I was doing this, I don't know why I did gray where I did it. It should have been white, but then as I'm doing this, I'm like, wait a minute, I should have painted the background of this canvas white, because who's going to really tell the white canvas from the white paint with the snow? And I was thinking, well, maybe it's a little, it's off a little bit, so you'll be able to notice it. But it wasn't that much off, so it was kind of hard to see. And so I do end up eventually going in with my Night Sky by Waverly and going around and painting all around the trees in the barn and everything to give it more of that darker color sky, just like the picture on the stencil package had it that way too. And that's what I should have done. But anyways, so, and it really doesn't look that bad here, but as you can see, I went over with the Night Sky and I love the way that came out. So then I took my puff paint here once everything was dry, and I'm just kind of going over the different areas with my puff paint. Now with that last stencil, it has snow like in the sky, but because I was doing it on white, you couldn't see it. So I just, instead of painting around the little dots of snow, I just painted completely over it with that Night Sky, because then I thought, well, I'll just take my puff paint and I'll just go ahead and make some dots in the air with that. And then it gives it a little bit of dimension as well. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I did use that puff paint and went over the top of the barn with it too. Then I took the frame that I took the canvas off of it, and I am taking the antique wax, brushing it on and wiping it off with the paper towel. And then I took my wood glue here and I'm just brushing it all along the inside layer of this canvas. And then I am going to set it in place. And I left it overnight. I put my laptop on it, left it overnight. The next morning I came in and I took my X-Acto knife and I cut away all the excess part of the canvas. Now, if you recreate something like this, you could always cut that before you paint. It doesn't matter. So then I just laid the turned it over because it was already glued. I don't know why I glued it, but you know what? It is on there for good. Anyways, I used some staples, and then I just added a little hanger by stapling that into. I also, I just felt like it needed something more. So I had this glue pen here. I got this from Joann's, and I'm just going to go over some different areas, and I'm using some glitter. I got this glitter from Walmart, and it is called a Snowy Surprise. And so I'm just pouring that all over different areas. I'm using my glue pen and then adding the glitter to wherever I laid that glue from the glue pen. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, then I took my snow text, and I'm just going to go over the top part of the frame and the bottom part of the frame. And there it is. I really love how this came out. This was a lot of fun to do. If you haven't checked out Essential Stencils, this is not a paid, I'm not being paid by them or anything, but I really enjoyed their products. Anyways, so there it was. Okay, I want to take this moment to thank all my subscribers. You guys mean the world to me, and I appreciate you so much. And if you're new here and enjoyed today's video, I would invite you to hit that red subscribe button, become part of our YouTube family, and then make sure you guys give me that thumbs up and comment and all the good stuff. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find those links in my description box below. Here's DIY number 2. So for this DIY, I'm going to use my Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. I'm going to use this little jar from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use this little wood round. I think this is like 3-inch wood round. I think I got a package of these from Amazon. This is a spindle we got. We found a chair with spindles at a thrift store. And then I'm going to use, this came off of a flag, a U.S. flag from the 4th of July from Dollar Tree. And then that wood block there. I'm going to start off by painting the lid of that glass jar and everything else black. I'm going to take my wood glue and hot glue and put it on this top part of my spindle, and then I'm going to add that black round piece. Now, if you don't have a spindle and you want to recreate this, you could definitely use like the glass candlesticks from Dollar Tree. Add one on top of the other and do that. That's what I originally was planning on doing. And then I remembered I had these. I'm like, oh, this would be perfect. So I added the wood glue and hot glue to the bottom of that spindle and added it to the plaque as well. I am taking some Fix-All glue and hot glue, and I'm going to add that up on top of the wood round that's on top of my spindle. Then added some of my Quick and Thick glue, multi-purpose glue on that flag post that I had cut down and put it in the little hole that my husband created for me. Then I took 2 of these garland ties from Hobby Lobby, twisted them together, and I just start wrapping them around my spindle there. I did end up having to use, I think, 2 sets of the spindle or the garland ties, but I did have to tack them down with some hot glue here and there just to keep it from unwinding. Then I'm just taking some of these berries. These came from a pick from Hobby Lobby. I'm just adding a little hot glue on them and adding them all along the greenery. Then I got these last year from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to take one of these and hot glue it to the flag post part that you cannot see because of where my camera is angled at. I'm going to take some snow text, and I'm going to go all the way around my jar with it, leaving an opening in the front. And then I went around some of the green, well, all the greenery actually with that snow tack, even on the berries and stuff, just giving it that snowy look. Then I'm going to go all around the base of that plaque as well with my snow tack. Then I took some styrofoam here. I'm going to hot glue it down, and then I'm just going to start adding this beautiful poinsettia. I know some people say poinsettia, but I call it poinsettia. I'm from the Northwest. That's what we call it. And I'm just going to add that with some greenery pieces to the pick until I was happy with the way it looked. And that's all I did for this. Now, with the jar, if you are in a warmer climate, you could spray it with the frosted spray paint, which I would have done. although it's too cold here right now and I didn't want to go out in the cold. So, but there it is. I still love the way it came out. I think it is adorable. You have to let me know what you think about this in the comment box below. Okay, it is a celebration of your recreation, and look at what Lynn has made. She used her IOD molds to make those decorate those ornaments. They're so gorgeous. And then the other two items there were so pretty as well. And if you have a creation or a recreation that you would like me to showcase for you, you can send pictures to my email address that's listed there, or you can send them to me through Instagram or Facebook Messenger. I always love showcasing those for you. Okay, here's DIY number 3. So for this DIY, I am going to take my Chalk Couture chalk paste in the color Black Velvet, Bright White, Rust, and Pesto. And then I am going to show you Napa, but I didn't realize I had grabbed that one. I really wanted Cherry, so I did swap it out for Cherry. I'm going to use my Waverly chalk paints in the color White and Ink, which is black. And then I'm going to use this sign from Dollar Tree. And then my Chalk Couture stencils. This one is And Heaven and Nature Sing. This was from last year. I'm not sure if they still have it this year or not. I haven't checked. And then this is from this year, and this is called Cardinals, Two Cardinals and Seasonal Branches. So I'm going to start off by removing all the paper off of this sign. Now this area had like a double portion of cardboard on there. So I really had to kind of pick at it, but it did start coming off in chunks. But I have to admit, this did take me a long time to get this paper off. And I probably should have used my heat gun a little bit more than I normally did, but yeah, I just kept working away until I had it all off. Once I had it all off, I spritzed it down with water, and I did let it sit for a few minutes. I didn't let it sit as long as I normally do. So when I'm scraping it up with my paint scraper here, it wasn't coming up as easily as it normally does. So the key really is to let it sit for a little while. But once I had it done, I did try to use some Goo Gone to get the rest of the stuff off. But I just decided I had spent so much time that I was just going to paint the back side, or paint that side, but I was going to use the back side of it instead. So here I'm using my ruler. I'm going about 1/2 inch, making little lines all the way across. And then I'm going to tape at those lines, and I'm going to paint the edges and the bottom part with my ink color, and then I'm going to paint the middle part of this with my white chalk paint. Now, you guys, this video is all about cardinals, and I did not intend it to be about cardinals. I wanted to use this transfer because there's some items that I'm almost done with my Christmas stuff, and I really wanted to use some of these items, and it ended up being almost all Cardinal stuff. So I'd like, okay, I guess we're going with Cardinals. So if you're not familiar with Chalk Couture, I first fuzzed this because it's the first time I've used this transfer. And Chalk Couture does call them transfers, even though they're stencils. When you fuzz it, it's because it's adhesive that helps it so it doesn't pull up your paint when you're pulling that up. But I used my pesto there to do the leaf or one of the branches. And then I laid my cardinal down, and I used my rust for the nose, and then I'm using my cherry for the rest of the bird. And I'm just using my squeegee here to go over the whole silk screen image that is on there. And then after it's all covered, I'm going to pull it up and go wash it. And then once it was dry, I took the second cardinal piece and I laid it over my cardinal that I just finished. And yes, it was dry. And then I'm going to use my black velvet and just going to go over it because it's just got the silk screen in the right areas that you're going to cover. I probably didn't have to go over the whole thing. If I looked close enough, I could have just went over where the silk screen part was. But I don't know, it was just easier to do it this way. So I pull it off, and look how beautiful that is. I love it. And then I decided to add in some more of that branches. I just felt like it needed a little bit of something more in the middle here. So I'm just using my pesto with that. And then I'm going to use my and Heaven and Nature Sing transfer, and I'm going to put that on the bottom and go over it with my cherry as well, and then wash. I always wash them every time I use them. You want to wash them because you don't want that chalk paste to dry on your silk screen. Okay, so after everything was dry, I took my white paint marker and I'm just going to do stitch markers all along that bottom area. And then I took my, I think this is Extreme Glitter Silvery Paint. It's folk art, I think. And I'm just using an embossing tool, and I'm just making little dots all around to make it kind of look like snow. And then after that, I take this like Rick Rack ribbon. I got this from Walmart either last year or the year before. It was like in the gift wrap area. I think they call it gift trim. And I'm just gluing that around. I originally had tried to use a little red cord, but I did not like how that looked. So I pulled it off and did that instead. Here I'm making a double loop finger bow. I am just wrapping my fingers like you saw me do. I take the end of that ribbon and poking it through between my fingers, bringing it up around and going through that loop that was just made around the loops on my fingers. I hope that makes sense to you guys because I don't know how else to explain it. Then I'm dovetailing by folding them and cutting at an angle. Then I'm going to take some of these cedar picks I got from Amazon. I kind of cut them down to make them smaller because they're really big. And I hot glued them on, added my little bow, and then I decided to add some of that snow tech all over the cedar picks to make it have a snowy feel. Then I took some pip berries and added one on each side of the bow. Then I'm going to take some of these little holly leaves and berries. This came from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to hot glue one on each side of the sign. I just felt like it needed a little something more there. Then after that, I'm going to make a beaded hanger. I'm just adding some tape to the jute twine there, and I'm going to tie a knot on the back, double knot actually, so it doesn't go through the hole. As you can see, when I was gluing that rickrack around, I made sure that I did not cover up that hole so that way I could do this. And then I just started adding some beads. These are beads that I got from Amazon. And then after that, I'm going to just make a loop and tie a knot at the top so that I have a way to hang it. And that was all there is for this one. I love how this came out. I think it is so pretty. And yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think about this as well. And if you're interested in Chalk Couture or have more questions about it, I am a designer, so you can find the link to my page in the description box, or you can always email me. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Okay, here's DIY number 4. Really easy one for you guys. I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in the color white and the color ink, and I'm going to use this beautiful napkin. I bought this from decoupagenapkins.com, and then I'm going to use this house from Dollar Tree. So I originally thought, okay, I'm going to remove all this stuff. I think I've done this before. It's not too bad. Oh my goodness, this took forever to remove. And watch what happens. I'm trying to use my heat gun to remove that, and it just pops and went flying. I had to search for it. But anyways, I was hoping to save the little wood pieces, but no, everything was just not wanting to come off, and I was pulling and pulling and working, and I eventually got it all off. And I tried sanding off that glue and the fibers from that material, but it just didn't want to come off. So I decided that's going to be the back side, and I was going to use the back for the front. So I painted it white, and then once it was dry, I went over it with my Mod Podge, and then I'm going to set that aside to dry as well. And while that was drying, I got my napkin out. I'm taking too long here. Oh my goodness. Okay, I take my napkin, and I couldn't get, it has 2 layers behind it. I could only get one ply off, so I put some double-sided tape on my fingers to get that other ply off. I laid it on the house, and I put my parchment paper over it, and I'm using my heat press to reactivate that Mod Podge. And then I am going to remove my parchment paper, and there it is. And then I'm going to add some more Mod Podge to help protect it. Now, if you don't have a heat press, you can always do this with an iron. You just want to make sure that the iron doesn't have any steam on it. And then once that napkin was dry, I'm going to take some craft sticks here. These are just like regular size craft sticks you get from the dollar store. I'm cutting, using my miter shears to cut them at an angle. And then I'm going to cut the edges or the bottom parts off too. So I'm just moving it back to the 90 degree. And if you don't have these, you guys, I would say invest in them or put them on your Christmas list, because these come in so handy. They do cut the paint stir sticks as well. I love using them. Anyways, I'm going to take my finger sander here, and I'm going to go around and sand off all of the extra paper or napkin there. Then I'm going to use my wood glue and hot glue to glue these little wood pieces onto the top part of my sign. Now, when I got done with that, I wasn't happy with the middle part being white, so I did end up going over it with my black. I painted the middle of it with black, and I did paint the edges of the sign with black. Then I took my paper and I laid my house down, and I'm tracing it out on the paper, and then I'm going to cut it out. Then I'm going to use this adhesive spray by Elmer's, and I'm going to just add my paper right to the back. Isn't that paper pretty? I love it. It comes from a paper pack called, I think, winter berries from Hobby Lobby. And then I took one of these little wreaths I got those from a pack from Hobby Lobby, and I hot glued it in the middle. And then I'm just using my Snow Tech, going all around the roof with it. And I did go over all the snowy areas on that napkin. And I think that's all I do. Oh no, I add a little cardinal, one of those little ornament cardinals to the top of it. I figure, hey, this is about cardinals, right? And there it is. I love how this came out. That is so pretty. I used this napkin last year on a DIY, and I didn't get very many comments about it, so I don't know, but I just love this napkin. I just think it's beautiful. So you have to let me know what you think about this one as well. It says all hearts come home for Christmas. I thought it was perfect to put it on a house. So anyways, here is your final reveal, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We are almost done with the Christmas DIYs, and I'm very sad because I love my Christmas DIYs, but I'm only going to have a few more videos for you, and then we'll be hitting into winter. So make sure you have your notification bell set. I will be back again on the 1st for our first of the month challenge, which will be a winter theme. So I look forward to that. So with all that being said, don't forget to give me that thumbs up and comment before you go. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that red subscribe button and become part of our family. And with all that being said, have a blessed day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.